Hey, yo. How you going?
It's cold. It's cold in Sydney town today.
Fucking freezing.
It's really cold. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I know. Oh, man. But, like...
It was chilly at the anti-vax rally.
What the fuck was that about?
I don't know. I was just walking around, doing
Was the guy dressed up like a prison Jew for?
Man, I don't know. Let's not get into it.
It's like, yeah, hit up your boy Hugh if you want to context that story.
Yeah, I mean, like, I like to go and see what's going on in the world, but hey, man, there was some confronting imagery.
Shit, you tell me. How many sads are you 1 to 10 that you're not going to do commentary, or you haven't? Yeah, or now that seemed that rebellion's postponed.
Look, to me, okay, if you've been living under a rock, I would have been checking in this weekend remotely from Victoria. Thank you anyway to Sai and Rebellion for giving me the opportunity. I was going to be commentating with Daddy Cool and John Wayne Parr on Roots, which was going to be absolutely sick because the lineup was good. But you may have seen on the news, our friends in Victoria have unfortunately plunged back into lockdown. But I mean, like, I'm very disappointed that I'm not commentating this weekend. But I have to be like, look, we're cool up here.
Yeah.
Touch wood. Better to be up here and just not able to go on a weekend away than be down there. And also, like, I didn't get the opportunity to go commentate. But man, these guys have cut their weight. They're ready to go. This stuff didn't get cancelled the day before weigh-ins. I would feel like a fool to complain. You know what I mean? It's not. I'm not hurt. Hopefully, I mean, I'll go back down if they'll still have me for the rescheduled date, June 18. It's looking right now. Just cross our fingers that everything. Yeah. Kind of. Up all right.
Yeah, it should be right. Like, it's like like you see on social media, all the fighters who just go, look, it's a little bit disappointing. But how it goes, everyone's in the same boat. Yeah. But they seem all keen to go, yeah, okay, a couple of weeks later, that's fine, we can do that.
Yeah, I think the reception on the fighter side's been very mature. Like, everyone's just kind of taking it in their stride. Which, man, like, I've look, I've been lucky in the sense that I had heaps of fights cancelled because of COVID, but not in like suddenly cancelled the day before kind of way, but I've had fights cancelled in the past where, like, you're in the, like, really, like, if you're in the thick of cut and weight, like, the work is done. Like, you've done everything that needs to be done to get into the ring. It's just like, it's very disappointing, very potentially disheartening to have the opportunity taken away. But the way that everyone's kind of just gone, it's inspiring, honestly. I'm inspired by my Muaythai colleagues who have just gone. Look, and I think combat sports has shown a lot of, especially in Victoria, has shown a lot of resilience through, this whole pandemic. So it's cool to see everyone, at all levels, to see Sai make the smart call and postpone the show before potentially it gets actually, he postponed it when it was still a decision, but it would have been scrapped by, the government anyway. Then to see the fighters just, to see Sai just get right back on the horse and here's when we're going to do it again. All the fighters just kind of taking their stride. It's very, it's cool to see because we're obviously at a point in this whole thing now where we realise shit ain't perfect. And,
Definitely not.
If we want to get the outcomes that we want to get back in the ring and things like this. And for a lot of these, that's the saddest thing is, like, the perspective is so different state by state. Like, here in New South Wales, we're doing quite well. Last week, awesome sold out show at 1774 that we're going to talk about. Massive Siam to Sydney lineup coming up. For a lot of these guys down in Vic, it was their first time back in the ring after the whole pandemic. So, I mean, first time through this whole pandemic. Like, River Daz hasn't fought in a long time. Same with the semi-main eventers. Like, been a long time since we've seen Carter Lawrence. Long time since we've seen Jordan Fielding, not a Victoria boy, but a long time since we've seen a lot of these guys. So it's very disappointing for us to get, so close. And, the show is called No More Trouble.
That's...
and I mean, like, as well, like, some shows have come back in Victoria, but Rebellion was waiting, until they were in the clear, and it's just this thing, like, I don't know, we don't want to get into talking pandemic, the pandemic sucks chat.
But the show's been rescheduled now. It's got a June set 18th. Date, and no doubt, fingers crossed, positive vibes out there. It's going to go.
And I hope the whole lineup can stay together. Of course, not the whole thing will be able to stay. That's the nature of the beast. But I hope the majority of the top end can stick around. I haven't heard much about what's staying and what's not. I assume it's still kind of fluid. And hopefully they invite the same commentators.
Yeah.
Because I'll go again.
I'll go again.
And actually, everyone that I was doing flights and accommodation and stuff with in Victoria, I guess it's just business as usual now, but were awesome about automated refunds and stuff like that. As soon as I didn't have to do any work, it was just I was reimbursed as soon as the borders closed. So
got to do it.
Yeah,
that's how it is. All right,
thanks,
cool.
Victoria. You guys are cool.
It's like, yeah, you're okay sometimes. So, but let's talk about like 1774 from that one. You had a fight on there. We'll talk mainly about the pro card and we'll do a little bit of highlights of some of the amateurs after that. So, but like, hey man, how'd it feel getting back in the ring, a 5-rounder?
You want to do like we'll do my monologue of the fight, and then we'll just talk analytically about the card.
Yeah.
Look, I enjoyed this whole experience. I had I had a long prep for this fight. Not that that's, I had a long, arduous prep for this fight, but a really good prep, to be honest. I think like I zoned in a little bit more in a couple of ways on this year has been a lot of a process of, I guess, just kind of taking a more professional approach to my whole career end to end. And that's a lot of things like how I sort of manage my nutrition and how I do reporting and like just how I kind of track things. It's leaving like my whole objective this year has been a lot about just leaving nothing to chance. Like I'm really kind of getting a lot more. I've always been structured with how I train, but I think the further you get into your pro career and the higher you raise that level, the more you realize how much has to be tightly structured. Like you can't leave any sort of guesswork, and it's been a lot of trial and error, but I had like a really good kind of structure. I made some the last 2 fights, I'd say I've made some major changes to how I prepare, and I think this was the prep where I've been at these changes long enough to kind of really see the benefit. And I had like everything went well. I was really tracking up. I had a long, hard prep, but I have made some mistakes in the past that have maybe have had me kind of put in all this work, but even to the point where it can kind of tear away at me by the end of the prep rather than drive me up. So a smart, structured, very professional style of prep. I felt good coming in. To be honest, like we talked after this fight, I felt like a lot of pressure for this one. Like a lot. It was a big... I was supposed to fight an interstate opponent who unfortunately I had to pull out only like a week before the fight, or maybe 2.
It was less than 2.
Yeah, it was not. And then I found out by accident, right?
Yes. We're scrambling to find opponents, and then someone let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, I mean, like it's hard, right? Like it's hard to keep a secret from me. In Muay Thai, everyone's
especially when you're asking from everyone from every state. Who you got? Send them in.
There was like just a desperate search for opponents, and then someone sent me a message said, "I'm really sorry to hear about your." It was so frustrating. I just got back from like a really hard kind of Friday night session, but was feeling good. Like I'd had like this moment of like, yeah, this is all really coming together.
Yeah,
this is going to be a big one for me. Like I'd had this conversation with you, like shortly before finding out. I would just you already knew. I would be making myself look like an absolute dickhead. And then
I'm just going to go,
yeah. But and then someone messaged me, yeah, I was sorry to hear about your opponent as well. And I go, first I've heard of this. But then like I didn't really let it shake me too much, to be honest. I told you I knew because I can't. I figured you knew anyway.
Yeah.
But I just I wasn't really super bothered. I didn't stop training or what, but it was kind of emotionally a little bit difficult because I was really at that point where I think I was just coming to that last hard week of training. Everything's going well, but that's a really important kind of time, where it's like everything's kind of starting to hurt, but you it's got to be that full steam forward.
And then when you're that close out, it's hard to find an opponent.
Yeah, that was the other thing. And it's like, I mean, like my mentality was like, oh, they're just going to replace him. Yeah. Because like in my mind, and that's probably what helped me. I was never not fighting or potentially not fighting in my own mind. But then you start to think a lot, right? Because I'm like, well, fuck, this has been a really hard preparation. And I started to kind of feel like, well, if I don't get matched, and then the next fight's in 3 weeks, we roll from, and it's potentially is like quite difficult to manage when you do these longer preps. you know, it can make a little bit, you know, like we get a bit more used to in Muay Thai, just kind of short preps and more fights.
Yeah.
Whereas like when you do get in a position where you're kind of building up for a long time, it kind of warrants a little bit more of a taper down at the end, I think. So like the idea that, I started to stress not that I wouldn't get to fight, that like I would have to just keep running for. But like, look, if I had to do that, I would have just done it. But it was kind of peculiar in the end because it kind of just felt like we almost ended up in the fight we should have been in the beginning. Like we ended up against Jamie from PTJ, who like I've been matched with a couple of times before. Always kind of a little bit one of those fights. You kind of just on a collision course.
Yeah.
I think we've had like the exact same number of fights or something.
Yeah,
really
it was like when the pretty much the records were identical.
Been fighting at the same weight class for a long time and have wanted to fight each other for a long time. Like we spoke in like a few weeks ago and we're both kind of like, yeah, this would have been cool if we got matched.
Yeah.
Wasn't how it happened, but then there was another pull out at another part of the card and it caused a big reshuffle. But then like when I was looking at this card, the way it lined up, I actually think it worked out for the best.
Yeah, it's still like it looked a really good card. Like
Yeah.
Maybe even better.
Maybe better, less fights overall. You look because there was 2 guys pulled out, so you lost 1 fight.
Yeah.
But I think it was kind of like a quality over quantity kind of thing in the end. Yeah, because Barkey and Lyndon was a really good match and turned out to be a really good fight.
Yeah.
And I think Jamie and I is kind of just one of those fights. Like it needs to happen, will happen again, no doubt. So but I was under a lot of pressure. I felt, you know, like it's all just bullshit in your own mind, I guess. But obviously, I had some not so good results recently, and I felt very confident. I was really confident, but coming into the fight, the last match, this match, but it's a big kind of something to, I guess, maybe give you reasons to doubt when, like, at the very last second, you're going to, like, it was, no disrespect to the gentleman I was going to fight, but this was a class above that. And I didn't doubt for a second I had the capability, but it's a bit like, kind of like, oh shit, this is real.
Well, it's like, you know, the last few fights that you had from there, like, you know, class opponents and things like that. And like, you know, it's just judging didn't go away, but it didn't. Like, it's if you look at it on paper, it, like, you know, it looks worse than it really was.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
Like if you watch the fights, you go, oh, you know, this, you know, like Hugh Dong's actually really fucking good.
Yeah, and
not to be overlooked.
Yeah, I had to, like, I think at the end of the day, it's you win or you lose. Like, and that's where I was at. I lost a couple in a row. But I did have to kind of come at it with the mentality of, like, sometimes the record doesn't show everything. And I think, like, it's easy to just fall for, like, the story of your own record. Like, start to be like, fuck, I'm really on the downward. I'm starting to lose. But it's, like, if you're not winning, things aren't going right. But I think, like you say, I can look at my last couple of fights. I see a lot of improvement. A lot of things that I think would, like, it's hard to see the full story from the outside, but, like, I know what's going on around these fights. I know kind of the things I was sorting out in the background, and I could see a couple of fights in a row, like, a couple of things are just starting to click. Like, you know, coming together at my own pace, and I've had some really good developments, and that's what I thought, like, in the end, my mentality coming in with, I think it was a good setting to come in for this fight with Jamie, which is a big fight.
Because, like, probably as well, like, if let's say you were originally matched with Jamie, how you think mentally it would have been different, the prep?
Yeah, that was actually my kind of my thought as well, is like, maybe there's some learning in this, in that I just prepared in a way where I wasn't, any kind of doubts that came up, or potential doubts, I didn't doubt myself at any stage, but there's always room for doubt. It's not like, I can admit, I think any fighter who's been truthful will admit. Maybe I got the fight I needed, but I didn't have 6 weeks to psych myself out about it, if you know what I mean. Maybe that played to my benefit in the end, because I have wanted to fight Jamie for a long time, but it's easy to kind of get stuck in. But it was like the first time I ever fought as an amateur, Jamie was running the gloves. And he was already an established professional, you know? So it's easy to be like, you move up and you start to fight these guys that were around before you even started. And it's easy to kind of psych yourself out about that. But, I think, like, that's a good point that you make, is I think maybe it all worked out for the best here for me mentally. to just get a feel for just kind of jumping straight into this match. And
and I think it's probably a good learning experience, like taking that on board for like future matches as well.
Yeah.
That like, it doesn't like, the training kind of speaks for itself that you become like really good, but like, when it comes down to it, you can perform at a high level with the best.
Yeah, that's and this is a good confidence builder for me. Because it just comes back to like I have lost to myself a lot or not got the best out of myself in a lot of my preparations for whatever reason. But like I have to look at my career like or just like my whole preparation overall and be like I have no reason to not feel confident. Like it's never been like I know when only you really know when you go to fight if you've pulled out all the stops. Like I always know like training hard's never ever been a problem. Doing all the work has never ever been a problem. Like it's just like you can just get trapped in your own sort of thoughts. So I think like maybe the short notice of this particular match kind of benefited me. Like you said, probably will happen again as well. But as for the fight itself, I thought it was a good fight. I thought
it was a pretty entertaining fight.
Yeah, good. I thought it was a good high level.
I think it was like
Muay Thai fight.
Good momentum swings in terms of like, if you watch the fight, like, you two just kind of went at each other.
Yeah, it's funny. You listen to the commentary and they're like, oh, this is not a 5-round fight, right? Like, why are they starting like this? But I had like, it's the same thing. It comes back to like what we talked about before. Like, I think what might have benefited me as well is like, I didn't really have time to overthink a plan. Like, yeah, we started planning 7 days before the fight. I made a little plan. It's not even really like I had a plan. Like I was asked, by, yourself, and I was asked by Aaron when I was training. So just like, what do you think? And I'd lay out a couple of things, but it was kind of good that I didn't have time to build my plan into a novel. I just knew I had a couple of things that like, obviously I've been watching Jamie fight for a really long time, so it wasn't like it was out of the blue either. But like, I would say if you watch this fight for me, you can kind of see how I came out with a pretty simple idea that I was very sure about. And that's why I kind of started hard, tried to take the pace quite early. Was kicking Jamie's leg a lot, doing a lot of things I'm pretty, wasn't really doing anything new. And I think like it was largely about kind of just, control the pace early, kind of try to get that early momentum. And Jamie came back very well.
Yeah.
I just thought it was kind of an investment strategy, take some of his weapons away right away and just have a little bit less to deal with. He pushed back hard. He sort of started to take the momentum a bit towards the end, and the 5th round was a bit more of a chess match just to close out. I thought I won that fight. I thought it was kind of competitive all the way through, but I didn't think it was contentious.
Yeah.
I thought the unanimous decision was fair.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, I mean,
especially I watched the back again. I go, okay, so
yeah.
It's like the round, like you said, the rounds themselves were close, but like still go like, basically when it came to the end of the score, and I go, that's like for us getting, I go, it's like I thought that was pretty cool. It's like it was pretty much like on the money.
Yeah, I didn't think being in the ring, like in my own feeling, I didn't think there was sort of room for contention. In rewatching it, it was more or less how I felt it was. I know. Jamie thought it was pretty close, but I'm not like look, and this is like I've said after this one, like I think it's one of those fights. We're both pretty active guys. I think we will probably fight again, and I've had a lot of fights where I thought I was worth a rematch and I never got one. I'm not averse to doing it again. Sort of whenever,
especially like that weight division. There's New South Wales. There's a couple of guys that you'll probably cycle through each other.
Yeah, it's just that kind of fight. So I'm sure rounds 6 to 10 are on the way in the not too distant future, and let's just see. I thought, but to me, good fight for me. Like, I'm not thinking too much about it. It's like there's a lot more work to do. I had a bit of a rest this week, but I'm good to just see what's happening. I train a little bit, but I pull up pretty well. I don't have too many.
Yeah,
don't really have any injuries. I'm just trying to keep working, see what happens.
Just the usual forced rest week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to be a bit smarter these days. I did some training. Like, I don't like to not move around too much, but admittedly in the past, I've got back to training hard too quickly.
Yeah.
Like I had like 2 straight years where I always just came back and trained hard on Monday.
Yeah.
But I used to be young, so
that's weird.
It gets a bit harder these days.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about some of the other fights from there.
Good card overall, to be honest.
It's a good card. Like, Did you get to watch back Bucky and Lyndon?
I did.
Yeah, I haven't. But like, you know, it's the only I saw it like because we just had to be in the waiting bay before your fight. But like, yeah, like that ended up being an interesting fight. Like, you know, because the card reshuffle from there, you got Jordan Bucky just, you know, trying to make his bones on the pro circuit now after a few fights, and then coming back from a long time off, Linton as well. It's like, remember him fighting back in the day.
Yeah.
So you kind of got like this, like, you know, the little bit of an older era guy coming back, and then like this new up and comer coming through as well. And then it ended up being like a pretty interesting battle. Yeah,
it was a good fight. I think Barkey's one of these guys. He's learning on the job. You know what I mean? Like he's taking hard fights. He's maturing quite well. I thought this was one of those fights. This was a funny shuffle because Barkey was going to fight Jamie, which is quite an interesting fight. And Lyndon was going to fight Oliver Hale.
Yeah.
And Oliver Hale pulled out as well, and then they just sort of just shuffled it around to make the fights that made the most sense. And Lyndon, I think this is one of those fights, he's significantly more experienced than Barkey, but he's coming off the layoff, and I think that's kind of where the even out point in the matchmaking was. I find, from the outset, I found this one very interesting because they have quite similar styles. Like both sort of forward pressing.
It's like it's like 85%, 90% of this fight was clinch.
Mostly clinching. And I thought Barkey looked quite like he had some good smart moments in the clinch.
Good takedowns.
There were some good battles. Yeah, he had some quite tricky takedowns. Took Lyndon's balance a lot. Lyndon was quite good at sort of landing those probably more significant knees. But I think the final scores were like 30-28 across the board. So real close fight. I guess Lyndon sort of just had more of those sort of big moments. Was landing. Also, he kind of, where Barkey did have his moments, especially with the takedowns, Lyndon was probably landing the bigger knees.
Yeah.
And also did kind of shut those clinches down, like exercise a fair bit of control.
And try to really punch it into Bucky when Bucky was kind of trying to press forward into the clinch off a long range.
I think that was a big difference maker for Lyndon also, is when they would kind of get separated. I think Barkey was very single-minded about just returning to that clinch. And Lyndon was happy to get back into the clinch and start working as well, but Lyndon was a little bit trickier about scoring a couple of times when they'd go on the outside. And these are difference makers. He had some nice left kicks sort of just across Barkey's body. And threw his left hand quite nicely down the centre as well. But good moments from both sides. I think a good showing of kind of Barkey's, Jordan's sort of maturation. And it's good to see Lyndon back. I think Lyndon looks good. I was talking to him at weigh-ins. He looks like he's kind of the time away from kind of... I know he was always a big lad at welterweight. Yeah. I think he's sort of settled at junior middleweight now for his comeback, but he looks a lot bigger and stronger than he used to look. I think just sometimes a little bit of time away from fighting it. And he was saying, you know, the time away and the chance to fill out a little bit and gain some strength and balance out a little bit was good for him. And he's now coaching full time at the new PTJ in Brookvale. And just like taking on that coaching role has sort of forced him to get a little bit more of an intricate understanding of nutrition and stuff like that. So looks big, strong. Yeah,
like I remember talking to him like a Marsing's gym when we were having the junior stuff, and he was talking about like, you know, side back, and he goes like, it's good. Hopefully I'm coming back a little bit smarter and like and just not absolutely kill myself to make weight.
Because you've seen Lyndon fight, he's a wild man. You know what I mean? But
you put it right out.
Yeah, so I think with a little bit of time away to sort of learn a little bit. I think he's been learning in his time off, and you can see that in sort of his. Yeah, it's cool to see Lyndon back. I said this to him as well. I'm glad to see him back.
Yeah, definitely. Just to see more fights out of him.
Yeah, I always really liked watching him fight.
As well. The locksmith, he's been dubbed, isn't it?
Well, I don't know if that's his name anymore because I don't know if he stayed in the locks game. So, like, it's literally
when you said that originally, goes his name's the locksmith. I go, what? Like because he locks so much in the clinch? He goes, no, because he's a locksmith.
Just because literally he's a locksmith.
Okay, if it was the other way, okay, that's good words. But if it's just a locksmith because he's a locksmith, then
it's not as creative.
We're not thinking on different levels. All right, so let's go into the fight after yours, the WBC state title fight.
Crazy, eh?
Whew. It's like, so these so we had Jordy Bagali, Warpath, and we had Nathan Jones Jr. of Nova. The two boys fought before on the hometown show for us, the Fire in the Shire.
Yeah, you guys put on there
a couple of years ago. Time flies. Might have to bring that back. And but they met again here, and like really, it's just like they just carried on where they left off.
They did, yeah.
There was no filling out process really. They just kind of get after each other.
It was quite a similar fight. I think you can see both boys have grown. Like literally have grown. They're both young guys. Like I don't know how old these guys are, but they're both young. Like early 20s. Yeah, both filled out a bit, got stronger, and you could kind of see technically the fight was quite similar to their last one, but like the consequences. The consequences were greater, right? Like
when you're no headgear and no elbow pads.
Yeah, and just more power, I think. I think both guys are just really settling into their sort of.
Yeah, I like Nathan Jones, like straight off the bat, like, because it's a southpaw versus orthodox exchange. Like, he was really getting after the Geordie's back leg fair bit. I guess trying to take away that
tenderized today. Yeah.
And, like, it's like going like coming along, and then in the third round, it just went crazy.
Yeah, went nuts. Like, it was interesting, right? I didn't get to see much of this. And I just thought I was having a nap. And so I watched it back, but yeah, you can see this video. It's been posted a lot. I think we've shared it as well. There's just this exchange in the third round where the fight absolutely pops off from. It was very interesting. So they both knock each other down in the same minute.
Yeah.
But Jones' initial knockdown is quite interesting because he throws a high kick and it kind of slides up over Jordy Bargali's glove. And I think, like, I can't see this super close, but I'm pretty sure the impact was like Jordy's glove hitting his head. I don't think he was sort of...
It's almost just knocking himself.
Yeah, like he kind of he doesn't like check it or block it sort of comprehensively. He sort of just locks up and the kick hits his glove.
Yeah.
Like even like the tape of the glove and seems to just smack into his... Yeah, he definitely wears the damage of the kick. And if you're watching this, you could almost think it wasn't a knockdown, it was a slip because like that was kind of my initial thought rewatching the video, but then I watched it again. Is that he does press forward after it and there's almost like a half-second delay, but his legs just give and he falls almost face first. So it was kind of like, just I guess got rocked through his glove and just lost his footing and fell, got knocked down. So they do the 8 count. He recovers quite well. And then he's got this thing like his sort of crisis response is spinning elbow. Like he's always like, once it becomes like a real scrap, like Jordy Bargali always whips out the spinning elbow, and he did it here, like because Nathan Jones gets on the chase straight away, tries to get after him and seal the deal, and Bargali whips out this spinning elbow, and he drops Nathan Jones.
Oh, just splatters his nose.
Yeah, and I thought maybe even it looked like that could have been over.
Yeah,
like
legit. Like it was like the knockdown. I go, damn. It's like not many people would get up after.
Yeah, but they hard as nails. These boys, they just kept on rolling.
Yeah, two more rounds.
And then for the 2.5 more, they go to absolute war. Like they rip shreds out of each other because I guess they both just had that sense.
Yeah.
Of like the blood in the water kind of idea, but they both dropped each other because both dropped each other hard.
Yeah.
Like both had sort of made moves towards securing a stoppage, and then they just absolutely go for it the whole rest of the fight. Amazing fight. They just tear pieces off each other. Nathan Jones just getting the better of some of those high damage sort of exchanges. But Bargali holding his own very well. Look, they could do it again. It's 2-0 for Nathan Jones, but two very, very technical, quite close fights. And young guys, especially for their experience, like I think Jordy Bargali, he's like a couple of years younger than me. And he's had like 36 or 37 fights.
Well, it's like for Bargali especially, like, Nathan Jones, I think it's like maybe he's first in New South Wales, I think, and maybe, but I might be wrong, like professional 4-day.
Yeah, it could be.
Like
could definitely be.
He might have had one in Queensland as a professional, but you don't know up there.
Yeah.
It was like, official in New South Wales.
Yeah.
By CSA standards. But like, we've just like, and Bargali's just been on the pro circuit for a while, fighting like mainly just ties.
Yeah, he had like a big sort of like top end run, like for a while. Yeah. And mixed results as will be, but I think he's an easy dude to sleep on maybe because he just fights everyone. There is no one Jordy Bargali won't fight.
Yeah.
Had some hard fights against Ties, but obviously he's growing through it. But he has had some sweet fights against top end local guys. Yep. Like he's one of these dudes. Like he's quite an unassuming guy, I guess. Just trains out of quite a little gym in Picton, and he just fights all the time. Doesn't you know?
Yeah, no, I always enjoy watching it.
Yeah, great to watch. Absolute, like the heart on both those guys. It's just you can do whatever you want. You got that level of heart. You can because you can learn new skills. You can't learn that amount of ticker. I think that's what you want to watch. And great fight. Going to very fit. If you're going to put a title on a show, you want to see you got to. And it shows like these dudes want these WBC titles, man. Like that's two dudes that we're not going home with at the belt, you know. I like to see it. I like to see that desire, and the crowd loved it, and it was an instant classic. Is it fight of the year contender for sure? I know they will be on YouTube soon. We'll share it, I'm sure, because it's chaos.
Definitely.
Okay, and good to see Aranga get up.
All right, so we're going to the last fight now. So the main event, Tu Warren Sitchatong versus Darren Chen from PTJ. And this was an interesting style matchup as well. You think if you watch Tu's last fight for Singpayak, you can tell he's got a really good keen eye.
Yeah.
Picking shots. Prefers to use some heavy hands, while Darren Chen's just that lock specialist. But he's been showing a really kind of sick kicking game.
He goes sweet right kick, He doesn't mind kicking the leg. Can counter right kick really nicely. It seems to be sort of I guess you'd probably say he's a preferential clincher, like a good kick and clinch style. Very smart. Darren Chen is really smart.
And it's for the fights he's had as well, veteran, he's fought numerous times in Thailand.
Yeah.
On the bigger shows.
Well, that's one to kind of that you can't sleep on either, right? Is Tu's spent more time in Thailand. And fought at probably I guess you'd say high level. He's fought Cam and like we talked about before, but Darren went over there for a couple of years too and was trucking along. Fought a little bit more kind of a little bit more at that Chiang Mai kind of level, but did have some I was having this conversation with a couple of people in the lead up. He had some high end fights too, on Top King and Max Muaythai and stuff like that. Similarly to what Tu did. So this was a class fight between two experienced campaigners.
This fight, how it played out from there, over 5 rounds from that. It was interesting, the end. We'll build up into that, but I felt in the first 2 rounds, Darren kind of made a big statement, to take those rounds.
Yeah.
And then you could see Tu starting to build up, and in the third round in particular, Tu really had rocketed some shots onto Darren as well.
Yeah, I think Tu probably played a little bit more of a stadium game. He definitely settled into that 2 rounds. He's a comfortable fighter. He's very experienced. He won't tell anyone how many fights he's had. Did you see the promo video for this fight?
No, I didn't say.
Yeah, he just did shouts to Sean. The it's Uwe. Yeah. He did some pretty cool video work for this. Yeah, he did a little promo with Tu, and they just ask him the normal questions how many fights he had? You're fuck, I don't know. Why does everyone always ask me that? So I think he's had a lot of fights. He's had more than most, even if it's a mystery number. I think they're saying
70 plus.
I think they have basically just settled it's about 75 plus is the neighborhood. Yeah. Experienced campaign. He's very comfortable in the ring, so he was cool to relax into it a little bit and get settled. And I think, especially when you are fighting, in a country like Australia, we do more of a Western model. It's every round counts. I think Darren, you could kind of see, was maybe seeing that Tu was trying to start a little slow and not let him get settled and kind of just steal those rounds.
Yeah.
Was right kicking really well. And it's Tu's style, right? He's trying to have a look. He's trying to pick his shot for late in the fight. He's a strategic fighter. But Darren's trying to put some rounds in the bank. I think that's how I would assess that. Maybe that's not what he was doing. You'd have to ask him, but that's kind of what it looked like. To me, he was kicking well and landing well with that kick. He was landing some good sharp right kicks. But then 3 and kind of into 4-2 started to, you could see him sort of move up his gears a little bit. But you could also see, you got to watch this closely. Tu was doing some smart. He was doing some smooth moving, like he's redirecting and sneaking that elbow
elbows,
up. Like
So
hurt Darren. I think like really did put Darren on the back foot a little bit and showed him some power. Like looked like if you're watching that third round, you can kind of be like, oh, Tu's starting to look like he could maybe make moves to knock Darren out. Like he was landing hard punches. Darren was never in tons of trouble.
Yeah,
fair play to him. He's a smart operator and he's good under pressure as well. I thought, but Tu landed big. You could see it. Shots. I was sitting very close to this, and I saw little bits and pieces. But yeah, in that was the only moment that I recall from being there, like watching, like okay, Tu's really starting to take this. But then in the end of the fight, Darren was coming back as well. Like Darren started a little bit more of the same. Started to land that right kick again, and then Tu again was playing the game a lot. Like he was sitting back and kind of, I guess had made the decision that he was up and was kind of sitting back and just playing the game a little bit, keeping a lot, moving off. Darren was trying to really keep fighting, crush the space and kind of, calling Tu on a little bit, come back in the fight. And Darren looked quite confident at the end of this fight that he had taken it. Went to Tu in the end. It was close. It was close. I honestly, I have not sat down and tried to score this fight. I don't know. I know there was a bit of, one of those fights, right? But yeah, it was close. Both guys had their moments. Yeah, Tu, especially in that kind of middle part of the fight. Darren very, very strategic, play that little bit of counter, try to control the pace a little bit. Yeah, interesting fight. One maybe we will see again in the future. I think this is a fight like some people were. I think there was kind of an idea that maybe Tu was a different league to Darren, but the two did not look massively different. I think Darren...
There wasn't it didn't look like a mismatch at all.
Yeah, no, not at all. It was a good competitive fight between two genuinely high-level Thai boxers. I think it's good. Because, even Darren's not been on the Australian scene that long. No. Both are kind of, like he came back from his stint in Thailand, was held up a lot by the COVID lockdown, of course, but both guys are sort of just proving their mettle after gaining all that experience in Thailand, and you can see that. Both exciting guys to watch and a really good battle. I like to see that at the top of a card. Just a good war.
Yeah, definitely. But overall, it was a pretty good show, wasn't it?
Really, really good show. And I'm not just saying this because they're my friends. I think Michael and Aaron have smashed it with 1774.
Yeah, no,
they've
put on the good pro matches and that.
Yeah.
Any amateurs in particular that you had to watch of that you deserve a little bit of a shout out? Yeah,
absolutely. Look, before, yes, they're my friends. Okay, but I have friends with really good fighters. Hannah Hicks, I think, is amazing. I really think she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. In sort of, I train with her, of course, and I see the way that she operates from a training perspective. I think her style is incredibly mature for only having, I think this was like her third fight or something. Third, no more than 4. The way that she can adapt on the fly and just the way that she can counterfight it, you just I didn't, when I watched her first fight, I genuinely was I didn't realize first time fighters could do that.
Yeah.
She's just got this really nice knee fighting style, and it was good. She fought Cassie Tu, excuse me, from VT1, who got the win, who was very impressive as well. That's where the bias to my friends comes in. Yeah, Cassie got the win in this fight. Very, very close. I think maybe split points. Both were amazing. I thought this was a really good quality amateur fight. I guess Cassie got her scores with these quite nice sort of catch and dumps and some really strong takedowns out of the clinch, and then Hannah kind of started to come back with these sweet high kicks towards the end. Really nice quality amateur fight. I think a good showing of just kind of where some of the amateurs are at in New South Wales, because neither of them have had heaps of fights, but the style was really, really good. Yeah, it was a good fight. Katie Mitchell, of course, always very impressive. Continued
in a rematch.
Yeah, did she how'd she go the first time they fought?
I think that she lost.
Oh, so she got this one back.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I didn't get to see this one super closely live, but got a stellar record. Does Katie? I think it's probably we'd probably say she's not far off the pros now. She's had probably 17 or 18 fights.
That weight division, there's it's kind of getting dry down. And amateurs, and like probably has a style that's better suited for pros also.
Yeah, got some good power, pushes a nice pace. Yeah, I always like to see her fight. She's difficult to deal with. She's a good up and comer. Who else did we have? I think everyone's impressive. But I thought Isaac Choice was really good. Just big, powerful kicks against the PTJ boy. Just like really from the outset, just kind of controlled this. Almost stopped it with low kicks. I think.
Yeah.
From the outset, absolutely. He turned his man pink. Good, strong style. I think it was his first fight as well. So did well. Bob Lakito's one to watch. Yeah, he's funny. Like, Don was on commentary. Like, fast, awesome talking to Bobby in the back. You just cannot shut him up. Like, Bobby does not say anything.
So just do a piss take.
Yeah, like he doesn't say anything. Like, he's a really sweet guy.
He just comes out there, does the job.
Yeah, he's not bothered. He shows up. He's very interesting. Like,
what's his action? Does he talking?
Yeah, he comes to the fight. He falls asleep in the back. He gets his hands wrapped. He falls asleep. Wakes up. Oh yeah, time to warm up.
Yeah, cool.
Just that's why you won't show any emotion. Like, I've seen him hit pads with Wacha. Wacha just wants Bobby to cry. He wants to see. He wants to see some emotion from Bobby. Like he's just like, you'll wear him out, but you won't make him show any emotion. He fights like that. Like he's quite calm, but big power.
Yeah.
Like in the last 1774, he got a wicked elbow KO and had a good showing here with a lot of leg kicks, like doubling and tripling up these heavy low kicks. So I thought he was really good. He's one to watch. I've been very impressed with him the last few times I've seen him fight. There's more, I'm sure. But that's kind of some of the standouts for me. I thought the lineup was good. I like the way they kind of do the little rising stars sort of segment.
Yeah.
So you got like your amateur, and then a couple of sort of feature amateur bouts. Yeah. Just it's good. Like you put on a high end pro show, but you also got to think about the funnel. You know, show the next pros, and I think that they've done a good job with that. Enjoyed this lineup. I thought the show was sick, sold out, so the atmosphere was really cool. I think they're kind of levels beyond a second show. Like the move from the last show to this show, was unreal. I think it's cool to have another kind of top player in New South Wales Muay Thai because we need more. Yeah,
you need those kind of bring out good pros, making great matches.
Yeah, more good shows, more truly professional lineups. I know they got huge plans, so it's really cool. See, and the way like you can see, I think you see how good a show is, when something like the whole Jamie, me, Jordan, Lyndon thing comes up and they just kind of manage it smoothly. I think that kind of tells you where they're at, because that can be a bit of a logistical shambles. Well done, lads, on 1774. Actually, are we going to have... I apologise, Michael Green, for doing this without you, but we will have him on to have a chat about... Yeah, he wanted to run through, recap the show. So we'll recap the show. We'll talk about what's on in the future. So we'll have Aaron on too. I guess someone to do subtitles.
I'll get that.
But yeah, so stay tuned for a feature on 1774 with the promoter.
Cool. All right, let's have like just the last part of this podcast. We have there's like next week there's a bit 5 like, so we weren't able to talk through it before then, so we might as well talk about it now. So you know, Muay Thai Grand Prix, pumping out the huge cards.
Well, this is another one. This was supposed to be last week.
Yeah, and go but they move it forward.
Now it's back. So that's a good sign. Rebellion will probably be same thing.
And we'll just talk about the top 3 fights that are just on it just quickly from there. So starting from the bottom, so you have Tyler Hardcastle versus Lukas Sayers.
This is like I don't know what you want to call it, like a wild card fight or like a mystery draw fight.
Just knowing the fighters themselves, like I just go, that's big for Tyler.
It seems, because I know Lukas. Lukas is one of these guys. Like I watch him fight a lot. The first time I ever saw him fight, he was fighting Dan Marshall at 67 kilos. I fought on the same show.
Yep, Taraji.
I think I fought someone from their gym. And then I remember like kind of being kind of not as aware, and then sort of seeing him popping up at some fights at 72.5 and thinking like, oh, that seems big. Like I remember him being quite a skinny sort of 67, but he's filled out a lot. Like he's a big lad. He's quite tall. A pretty well-sized 72.5. Like I watched his fight with the machine gun, Marco Tentori, and he looked like a big solid. Like he's got a lot of range, so I guess he'll kind of make that cut down to 70. I think is where this is going to be, And Tyler is like a career welterweight, a 67 kilo fighter still, and will come up to 70. But I like it. It's very WA. Like the two boys want to fight. Lukas, I do believe, was supposed to fight Chris White on this show.
Yeah. At
Mihu. That's a true middleweight fight. I don't know what happens to that fight, but Tyler wants to fight. Lukas wants to fight. So why let a few kilos get in the way? Just figure it out. I like it. It's cool.
It's that type of real good step up fight for him.
Yeah.
Just go, all right, where's he? Is that for Marcus Tentori, it's fine.
Pieced him just quietly. But
yeah.
Sorry.
Then you go into someone that's more relevant on the scene from there. Like in Tyler Hardcastle's just strong performances and just coming off one not too recently either.
Yeah. And I know Tyler's been putting some effort into kind of rounding out his sort of strength and conditioning and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see him not have to cut as much weight. Might be good for him. Yeah. Play around with just, staying fed, we good. I like the style match.
Yep.
Big sort of Lukas likes his elbows. Good elbow fighter, kicks well on the outside. Yep. Tyler, of course.
Big kicker.
Oz's best left kick.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, timing on it, just kind of picks people coming in, just
sneaky left kick.
You just all you have to do is just show a glimmer of opportunity. He just takes it.
Yeah, and he's he knows how to ice. He's not like a point fighting left kicker. He'll sneak that up, wrap it around your dome, and that's that. Yeah,
just bust you up.
Yeah, and it's been active for Rambo only a couple of weeks ago. Looked good. Had a good battle with Rambo.
It's he's got a fair few fights lined up actually.
Controlled that well. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this. Good fight.
Yeah. Definitely.
I like dudes that are willing to negotiate. You know what I mean? Let's meet in the middle.
Well, that's it. I think a lot of people got to do it nowadays. From that one, just it's you just Rebellion and this show beforehand. You don't know when it's just going to be taken away from you, so you just got to take the opportunity. If it's if it's within the ballpark, then man, do it.
Yeah, and we're in a new. If there's one positive out of all this shit, it's like guys are having to go and fight the guys in their own backyards, and I think. Obviously, it's great in Australia that we have promoters that are willing to fly guys around. But at the end of the day, I think we do have an ongoing problem where dudes want to go and fly here, there, and everywhere and fight for this title and that title, and they haven't really kind of just made it through everyone in their own scene, and you kind of take it detracts from your. And honestly, Perth, WA are the best at actually doing this.
Yep.
But it's still it's good to see guys kind of having no choice. It's a little bit more so. It's a bit it's everywhere else because Perth do this anyway.
Yeah.
Look, all their top boys fight each other.
That's probably one of the best.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, exactly. That's it. Perth are better than everyone else, and their top guys fight their top guys all the time. So, yeah, I like to see it. Very Perth leading the way, as they often do. So, yeah, really looking forward to Lukas and Tyler.
Awesome. So, the next two fights are interstate fights, though. So, we have Max McVickers versus Singpayak. Wow.
Interesting. I mean, this is, again, we talk about a show showing their capability by taking a pull-out, taking a reshuffle, and still giving you something that's as good. We were getting Max McVickers and Albert Tour.
Yeah.
Amazing fight. And then, obviously, something's happened to Albert. He can't fight. Hopefully he's all right. Probably an injury, I guess. And then you go, okay, that sucks. But they didn't even announce that he's out. They just go... Here you fucking go.
It's but they did a little thing. It's who is Max McVickers news? I guess Albert's out. So, and I go, it's gonna be Tyler Hardcastle, which I forgot. It's there was, it's when they came with that, I go,
that's a mad fight. Wow. Max is I don't even know what you call him, a golden boy, young.
Had a great showing against
Baksukari. Yeah, on hardcore. But you can see the level that this guy is. He just hit Baksukari with a touch of death. Just this beautiful step up knee, just folded him. And Bark's a tough character.
Yeah.
Bark's a high level guy, but it does not get any higher level in Australia than Singpayak. So I respect anyone who's going to take this kind of step up, but this is not a mismatched fight.
Yeah.
This is a huge test, of course. Singpayak, one of my favorite fighters in the whole world. I love Singpayak. I have a man crush on Singpayak. But Max's potential is endless. He's incredible. I mean,
he's just trajectory's just up.
Yeah, every time I see him fight, I've been blown away. So I love it. Love this fight. Well done. Yeah. I mean, it's not even like, this is a fight where like, you know, I could sit down and try to give you a breakdown. I'm not smart enough, man. Like,
so if you watch like Singpayak's fights, it's
he's a computer.
Different. It's like different. Like everything's a bit different. Yeah.
He's a computer.
It's not like he just goes, this is my set game all the time. Like he just goes, I'll just change it as I go along. And like, you know, but it's like the scoring for him is like, you know, it's just always meticulous. It's like he just kind of knows how to get it. He goes like, I'll just get. I'm just like, okay, you're gonna do that. I'll get a little above you next one, and then just keeps rolling on from there.
He's a wizard. He's incredible. Like, and I always tell that story of like, I didn't know that much about Muay Thai when I went to my first Muay Thai show, which was Real Hero. Yeah, and Singpayak was fighting, and that's when I was like, what the fuck was that?
I don't even know what happened.
Yeah, and I love to see guys that aren't scared to step up. Like that's what, you know, Sing's one of the best fighters we've ever had on Australian soil. Former Channel 7 stadium champion, as legit as they come, still in red hot form. He's a very difficult man to lay a hand on, let alone beat. But I think Max McVickers can do anything.
Oh, yeah. It's the way he's just looking from there, like, no matter what happens at the end of this fight, stock will be raised for Max.
100%. Like, Max is a little computer as well. They're both going to be just downloaded some information here. It's like, it's just going to keep raising Max way up. And I'm stoked that they saved the challenge that Max was going to get. You know, I still want to see him fight Albert, which I'm sure these guys are.
Oh, yeah.
Young as.
Same thing. There seems to be like, you know, just certain, like these weight divisions around, it's like you just get this circle of guys that they'll fight each other, like rotating against each other, but then they'll fight each other again because they're all still young.
And it's always interesting with these young guys as well. Max, I believe, has just moved up to welterweight. And then you see these guys are growing. Yeah. You don't know where they'll end up. Yeah. Keep feeling out, keep getting stronger. Yeah, there's just like it's fascinating to see where these guys can go. You just really don't know.
And then with the main event, George Mann versus Charlie Bubb. I feel like we just talked about this fight so much. Like, you know, like it's like I don't know if there's
I'm excited.
There's not much like, you know, technically you can add on to it.
I tell you what, though, we haven't talked that much about it, but it's such a hot fight that like we've talked to people about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they bring it up. Like when I talk to Nugget, he's absolutely jacked for this fight.
Yeah.
Everyone's jacked for this fight. I think like
I feel like sometimes talking to some people, like, you know, especially out of staters from New South Wales, like I feel like they're kind of sleeping on Charlie Bubb a little bit.
Yeah. And I've had some conversations like, I don't know how to like look. Like this is anyone's fight, is what I mean by this. I just think like I do believe I have had conversations with people that are under this strange impression that this is kind of like that like George is an overwhelming favourite, and I just don't think if you were a bookie that really understood, I don't think there'd be anything in this. I think there'd be a pick 'em fight. I just think it's one of those things like George is that very classic, very intelligent operator, and Charlie is a wild man. And I think sometimes people who don't know what they're looking at very intricately kind of use that.
There's a method to his madness.
Yeah, 100%. He's massively effective. And also, like, Charlie doesn't get hit.
Yeah.
Like, people have this idea that Charlie's just this, like, crazy run forward fighter. Charlie's meticulous. Like, Charlie is smarter than people realise. I think people realise. I just think, like, some observers
maybe they just see like they kind of think maybe it's unfocused, like just taking K1 fights and boxing fights.
But why wouldn't you go get that bread? Like who's touching him in anything?
Well, that's it. It's like, I'm getting bored. Is they going to try something different?
Yeah, for real. I just think sometimes like the public consensus can lean towards the more classical stylist, which I understand. But like this is not that kind of fight. Like I don't think there's a massive like ring smarts differential here. I think
different approaches.
They're both really smart and have different approaches. Yeah, as you say, I think it is like an aggression versus kind of what would you call it? But maybe like counter and sort of more of a shutdown kind of style. And I think it's also interesting in that I have never seen George Mann fight someone significantly larger than him.
Yeah.
because he's a big lad. But he's like we've talked to him about, and we've talked to people. He's not scared. He'll go up, and this is big for him. This is at 80. He's at 79.7 at light heavyweight. So he's venturing up yet again into to uncharted territory where Charlie has just been outgrowing every weight class. He's a fucking big guy. Like, he's a big guy. I remember like when I first met Charlie, he was probably still fighting at 70. Maybe 72.5, but I remember like quick moves between weights. Like he moved up to 72.5 for a couple of fights before he was saying no lower than 74, settled into super middleweight for a bit, and it wasn't even there for that long. He just grow, and now light heavyweight's home, but he's willing to fight up to cruiserweight. Like he's a big dude. He's probably as tall as George. I reckon maybe. Yeah. Maybe George is 6'4", Charlie's 6'3"-ish. Like, he's not heaps shorter. Yeah. Charlie got long limbs, as does George. And Charlie's got a lot of sort of walk around weight, which George is a big weight. Can bring a big frame down to some of these lighter weights in the past. I think Charlie's probably a bit bigger than him. So it's interesting to see how that kind of affects him, how that sort of changes his game when a lot of the physical attributes are evened out. But like we say, George is very smart. He can. I think this will be a good battle. I think it's a clash of styles.
Yeah, when you got George Mann and like the Riddler, just kind of like game planning for this one, they would have deeply looked into Charlie's fights and kind of go, okay, this is where we can probably make some advancements in these areas. Yeah,
and it's kind of yeah, you know they're going to come in with a wicked plan.
Of course.
And it's like I've said before, Charlie, he just has this style that I just think people watch what he does and they see kind of the aggression of it or the pressure basis of it, and they leave a lot of it to chance. Like Charlie's understanding of distance is like world class. Like he knows how to catch you when you think you're out of range. Yeah. He can step in and out of stances and with no reset time, just in the midst of an attack. He knows he knows what you're going to do before you do it. He knows how to run you onto things. Like Charlie is, I don't know, maybe we struggle to credit someone for being methodical and being calculated when they're not sort of sitting back and sort of looking. Charlie he gets on the front foot, but he's a smart operator and he knows his way around the ring. I think this is going to be a very good battle. I would struggle to make a pick.
Yeah.
I think if you're looking at this fight on either side and you say, oh, it's, it's George's easy or even if it's Charlie's easy, I don't think you can make that kind of claim. I think this is a real world title fight. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, and I think like even just if you're going to try and make a bit, it would like derive from just the entertainment value it's going to provide.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just enjoy it. Watch it.
Yeah, I think this is a fight as well. I think it's great to see George fight someone that makes him click through his gears.
Yeah.
Because when you watch someone like George who is so smart and so good at just shutting someone down, sometimes you don't even get the maximum entertainment value from someone like that. Because it's like George has so much to give if you make him give it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Charlie can do. It's like David did, I think.
Yeah,
David made George show his full repertoire. And I think you're even going to get another layer. Like George, it's hard to find an opponent that can peel back the layers and really make him work because he's got them. And I think Charlie's that opponent. I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, both boys are going to have reach deep into their wealth of knowledge and like and just showcase it.
This is going to be absolutely sick. I can't wait for it.
Awesome. Cool. Let's end it there, right? It's like, lots we talked about.
Yeah. It's good to see shit going on again.
Definitely. All right, guys. So remember to like, share, follow us. Just spread the love a bit. All right, and we'll catch you next time.
See ya.
Bye.